I try, and I think this show tries, to understand where different people in the media are coming from. Right? I know the business, right? Sometimes you got to go for the clicks. Sometimes you got to go for this. Sometimes you got to go for that. And because of that, I do my best not to, take unnecessary shots. I've been wrong, as I'm sure those of you that listen often know very, very well. I've been wildly wrong with predictions, so I don't like to point out to others like, oh, you thought this guy was going to be good? Everybody knew he was going to be bad. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here like, yeah, I thought Clemson was going to win the ACC by a lot. Like I don't like.
We all did.
I don't like throwing stones if I live in a glass house. I've referenced this a bunch. I do pre-draft rankings in the NFL. The players that I had ranked around Patrick Mahomes in his draft class would shock you, okay? Like very near the same ratings for guys who have been out of the league for a long time. So I've been wrong. I try not to throw too many shots. If there's one thing that grinds my gears that many of the national media do is dispersing credit inappropriately, or not inappropriate is the wrong way. In without justification or without giving it to the right people. Meaning, you're going to have to talk about the Dallas Cowboys because it brings in the clicks. I get it, right? Everybody that complains about ESPN going like all they talk about is the Cowboys and LeBron. Well, guess what? They're not doing it because nobody wants to hear about the Cowboys and LeBron, right? They're doing it because that's what rates well, right? They do the numbers. But you can talk about the Cowboys while also doing so in a way that gives the proper credit where it is due. The Carolina Panthers game against the Cowboys this past weekend was not a Cowboys collapse. It was not a disgrace by the Cowboys. The Cowboys were what the Cowboys are. And the Panthers beat them. And trust me, I'm as surprised as anybody. I picked the Cowboys to win by double figures. Like I said, I'm wrong often. Do my best not to be. Always back up my thoughts and predictions with stats or facts. But I didn't see it coming. But watching the game, the Panthers beat the Cowboys. They did not give the game to the Panthers. And to frame it that way is disingenuous to everything I hold dear about sports, which is if you play better, you win. They keep score on the scoreboard for a reason. Anyone can beat anyone on any given Sunday. This was not, for the Carolina Panthers, the Falcons game, where they won 30-0. If they wanted to lead the national sports shows with, wow, Falcons collapse, fine, we can do that. After that Panthers game, 30-0, yeah, Falcons, they gave it. Now, I gave credit to the Panthers for receiving, right? Like, if they're going to give it to you, get out of their way. Let them keep beating themselves. Like that's what they did, especially seeing what the Falcons have done since, right? Statistically, they're one of the best teams in the league. They gave a game to the Panthers. That's fine. That's not what happened with the Cowboys. And what did I say? I like to back up my opinions with facts. In estimated points added, passing, estimated points added per dropback, passer rating, and many other statistics, but I'll just use those three because they're becoming the most kind of widely accepted gauges for how good a quarterback was throwing the ball. In all three of them, Dak Prescott was one of the 4 best quarterbacks of the week. Statistically, Dak Prescott was one of the 4 best quarterbacks in Week 6. In receiving yards, receiving estimated points added, yards after catch and yards after catch over expected, George Pickens was the best receiver in Week 6 in the NFL. Number 1. The Panthers ran the ball well, and they blocked the run game really well. And they did that with 3 starting offensive linemen hurt and their starting running back hurt. That's what you do to an offense that's really good. You keep them off the field. You run the ball. You have long, sustained drives. You do everything you can to not let a guy who's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league and a receiver who's lighting you up continue lighting you up. It wasn't the Cowboys collapsing. It was the Cowboys doing what they're very good at very well, and the Panthers having a scheme and execution to beat them. And not outside of an early turnover, which was a drop, not giving the Cowboys more and more opportunities for that offense to bite you. That's what it was. Watch the game. Go back, watch the tape. Watch every clip. Watch the all 22. Watch from the sideline and the end zone. You're going to see a team that played better than the opposing team. And then at the end, made the 3 or 4 necessary clutch plays to win the game. I will admit that I don't know if the way the Panthers won their last 2 games is repeatable or sustainable, or that's the perfect blueprint for them moving forward, because I just don't know if you can expect the run game to be that productive against teams with different skill sets.
Yeah, can't expect 200-plus yards every single day from your running back.
But that doesn't change the fact that they had 200-plus yards from their running back, and they earned the heck out of, I would say, like 220 of those yards. I know that the story had to lead with the Cowboys because it clicks, right? America's team, Jerry Jones. You know what could have been? Could have been I would say, flashy headline that would draw in all the big names that you want. Cowboys traded Micah Parsons to strengthen their run defense and then got run over by the Carolina Panthers.
What?
You're mixing in Jerry Jones. You're getting a all-pro and Micah Parsons in the headline, and you're giving credit where it's due to the team that ran all over them. The Cowboys are not good on defense. They didn't give it to the Panthers. They didn't. The Panthers took it. And I think that is one of the differences in that win for the Panthers to other wins that I've seen. Right? And by the way, it's not like there's a lot of wins. But other wins I've seen a lot of times are like, oh, that team let the Panthers hang around long enough to then, land 2 or 3 shots at the end of the game. And, oh, look, they won. This was different. This was a team that pretty much from the jump, their offense had a base, a foundation of production that they could lean on time and time and time again. Dennis brought it up earlier, off air. The Panthers are really gosh darn good when they don't ask Bryce Young to do much. And part of the way I responded to is Bryce is good when every pass is a surprise, right? When the defense is selling out to stop the run and go, whoa, 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 and have to turn and run into coverage. Like he's more than good enough to take advantage of that. That's not bad pass defense. That's a pass defense that had to make itself vulnerable by selling out to stop the run because you were being really effective running the ball. That's good Panther football. And again, I'm not saying that the Cowboys played like the 85 Bears, but their stars played like stars. Their dudes played like dudes. You wouldn't be able to sit around and have me say, after a day where Derek Brown has 8 tackles and a sack and J.C. Horn gets an interception, you're not going to be able to have me sit around and go, well, you know what? The Panthers, they really did nothing right. They just gave that one away, didn't they? I'd be like, actually, their best players played like their best players. And the opposing team found a way to win anyway.
George Pickens still caught, was it 168 or whatever it was?
More receiving yards than anyone else in the NFL this week. I think it was 164, but we're splitting hairs once you get over 160.
Yeah. At that point, who's counting?
Led the league in yards after the catch over expected. Like he was the best receiver in the NFL this week.
He was great.
And they lost.
You
didn't give that away. You actually played kind of well in a lot of ways and lost anyway. And don't say, oh, CD was hurt, because we can talk about players that were hurt for the Panthers. Like I said, they ran for 200-something yards with over 50% of their offensive line and their starting running back hurt. I think CD is very good. I don't know if he's better than half of an offensive line and a starting running back.